Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, NmW&x, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Naomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right. Hey, my beautiful people. Well, welcome to another episode of the Season of Self-Love podcast. I'm your host, NmW&x, and it is Threshold Thursday. You know, that powerful space where we stand at the edge of breakthrough and transformation. Well, today, we're going to dive deep into something that has been absolutely life-changing for me. And I believe it will be for you too. But before we get deep into this topic, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to ground ourselves first, all right? It's your girl, the goddess, NmW&x, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. And we'll be right back. Hey, it's your girl, the goddess, NmW&x. And make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Naomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. We're bridging the gap between them all. And we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG crew. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to asknaomi.com and tell them Naomi sent you.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
All right, my beautiful people, well, welcome back. All right, today's topic is, this is our last Thursday for this series here with our nurturing relationships. And it's been truly an amazing month. Today, I want to, let's do this first. Let's ground ourselves and then we can get into the topic, all right? So if you can find you a comfortable position and close your eyes if it feels right for you. And let's take a breath together. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold for a moment. Now exhale. I want you to feel yourself releasing any digital overwhelm or any comparison or any need to perform. And now when you breathe in, I want you to breathe in peace. Now breathe out pressure. Now I want you to imagine yourself standing at a threshold, a doorway between your old relationship with technology and a new empowered way of being. You're not running from the digital world, but you are choosing to engage with it from a place of wisdom and self-love. Now I want you to place a hand on your heart, and I want you to repeat after me. I choose to engage with technology from a place of love and not fear. I choose authenticity over performance. And I choose presence over pressure. Now I want you to take one more deep breath in. Exhale. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes. All right, my beautiful people, if you're new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, it's something we do every day, Monday through Friday, to help ground ourselves before we get into the topic at hand. All right, my beautiful people, so let me share something with you that just happened to me last week. I had this incredible interview with this young woman for an upcoming show later on in the season. And she asked me something that kind of stopped me in my tracks. She said, Naomi, have you read the Four Agreements? So let me tell y'all, when she had said that, I was like, yes, that's one of my favorite books. But then something deeper happened. I started thinking about this month's series on nurturing relationships and about my conversation with Dr. Will on Monday on social media impact and about Tuesday digital detox discussion and yesterday's powerful conversation with Nicole about rest and boundaries. And I had to ask myself, did I use all four of those agreements in those situations? And was I applying this wisdom into my daily life and my digital life? All right, so this past weekend, I went back and I listened to the audiobook of the Four Agreements while highlighting it parts that in my physical book. And I thought about creating a framework to remember the Four Agreements when applying them to my life. And baby, I went even a step further. I'm no, I thought about this long and hard when I first started about doing this episode. And I know we started off this week on speaking about social media, because social media is a very big influence on our lives, especially right now. There's so many different things from politics, from self-care, just everything that's on social media. It influences us in so many different ways. And unfortunately, it's not positive all the time. It's not positive, especially if you don't know how to look for to even know who you are. So when this young lady last week, when she reminded me of this book, one of my favorite books, and I remember there was an aha moment at that time, and I was like, wow, that I got into this past month is that I can be very honest and say I did not go back to those four agreements. I remember the first time of reading that book a few years ago, and I remember applying that in my life daily. I remember applying that in my life daily. It changed my relationship with myself, but it also changed my relationship in a way that I could communicate with others in a different perspective when communicating with others. And so as we were talking and we ended the session, great. It was a great interview. And I remember the very next day grabbing my audio book, putting on my ears while I worked out. And then I remember later on that day taking the book out and highlighting certain things that I missed on my first 100 times listening and reading to it. And my life coaching business is career. It's getting more popular. I'm getting more and more clients as we speak. And so I was thinking with this new class of these new few clients that I have, I figured, well, maybe that's something that I need to implement into my and my coaching ability is to have them refer to reading that book first, to either read or listen to that book first. And that's because here's the thing with the four agreements, they aren't just ancient wisdom. These are things that you need right now. These are things that you need in your life right now that you can apply to everything in your life, whether it's family, friends, work, even digital, even on social media. You know, on Tuesday, we talked about the digital detox. But this can be a part of the digital detox, a compass for it. It can help you to have your social media survival guide. Because what we see on social media, what relationship we have with social media unfortunately, it determines on how we feel about ourselves. But if we use the 4 agreements when using social media, then it can show us a roadmap to our authentic online presence. Does that make sense? So if anybody hadn't read it, or those who have, I want to remind you what the 4 agreements are and how it would apply digital when using it digital. And I know you're like, Naomi, we really talking about digital social media? Yes. And let me tell you why. Just this morning, I just came in from a walk. I just came in from the park from a walk, and I had my headphones on. Actually, I was talking to my husband on the phone, and my mom came in. And let me tell you that she was diagnosed with dementia a few years ago. But listen, when she came downstairs, she had this look on her face, and she was going off. And I'm like, what's the matter? It's early in the morning. What is going on? He not taking my money. And I'm like, who is not taking your money? So evidently she's on social media a lot. She's on social media a lot. And in that process of her on social media, she reads a lot of things. And so my mother is 73 years old. She will be 74 in a week. And so even though she forgets sometimes it's like that, she's still well aware on things that's happening in the world. And as she's looking at social media can influence the way that you think. Social media can put fear into you. And in that moment, it had put not only fear, but it put so much anger into my mother. That is why I'm telling you, social media from the time you are 1 to 2 years old, able to look at it from 70 to 80 years old, it can influence who and what you feel about yourself. I have a 12-year-old. A 12-year-old. I just started letting her be a part of social media probably a few months ago. And we watch her like a hawk on there. My oldest two, I think my oldest one, she wasn't really into social media till she was about 17, 18 years old. Probably, yeah. And then my middle baby, I wouldn't let her get social media, make an account until she was 14 years old. Really. But like, well, why you for your 12-year-old? You know, she does a lot of things coding. She does a lot of things on computers. She is what we call a tech savvy genius. She's a tech savvy genius. I just wish she'd come work for me, but she don't want to have nothing to do with what our mama got going on. But also we watch her very carefully with her social media. And she only has one account. So we watch her very closely with her social media. But also for her, she comes and she asks questions about things, whether it's what's going on in the media, AI, whatever. We know how it influences individuals. And as I shared with you all on Tuesday, I even remember when I was 46, 47 and trying to embracing my age and getting older and my new life and healing and stuff like that. I remember the process of me comparing myself to other people's world or either how other people look. But this is what social media does. And so when the young lady reminded me of the 4 agreements, and I remember our conversation with Dr. Will on Monday, and even me talking on Tuesday, and in Wednesday's show, I said, I need to bring these 4 agreements back. I need to bring it back, and I need to remind people on what the 4 agreements are. And these agreements are with yourself. And so with the first agreement is be impeccable with your words. I want to start with that one. Be impeccable with your words is what Don Miguel Ruiz teaches us in the words, that words have power. They can create, destroy, heal, or harm. So when I think about social media, I think about how we use our words in captions, in comments, in DMs. But it goes even deeper than that. It's about the words that we speak to ourselves when we're scrolling. How many times have you looked at someone's post and said to yourself, I could never, or I'm not good enough, or I wish I had their life? So those words that I just spoke right there, they're not impeccable. Those words are harmful to your spirit. So when we think and we break it down like that, like Naomi, you getting deep like that? Yes. Because here on the Season of Self-Love, we teach you on we encourage you of speaking positive words into yourself, positive self-talk. But then I forgot, you got to keep reminding them of the 4 agreements. The very first agreement is to be impeccable with your words. Because words are powerful. Words are magical. Words can heal. Words can destroy. And again, I am so grateful that young lady came. Her show doesn't come out until July. Yes, I said it. It doesn't come out until July. But the universe and God made it a way that, like, okay, let me bring her over here so she can talk to her, because I need for her to get something, because she's missing something. She's doing well with everything she's doing, but she's missing something. She keeps missing a part of her foundation, and that's the 4 agreements. So that very first agreement, be impeccable with your words. So it means being impeccable with your word in the digital means. This is what it means. Speaking to yourself with love and encouragement, not comparison and criticism. Posting authentic content that reflects your truth and not performing for likes. Commenting with kindness and genuine connection and not seeking attention. And using your platform to uplift and not to tear down. I remember when I first started and sharing my true self on social media, no makeup, real conversations about my struggles, about my highlights, about my wins, my losses. No lie, at first I was nervous because I wasn't being impeccable with my words to myself. I was saying, people won't like this, or this isn't good enough, or I'm not worthy. But when I shifted to impeccable words like this is my truth, I remember I used to put hashtag diva truth. I was diva, and it was my truth. So that used to be my hashtag diva's truth. But also I knew that someone needed to hear this. Someone needed to hear this. Because they need to see that that I'm not alone in whatever this is that I'm going through. That someone else sees me. And when I took it beyond me, then that's when everything changed. And let's talk about agreement 2. Don't take anything personal. That second agreement, when it comes to social media, it gets very, very tricky. It gets very, very tricky. Don't take anything personal. I want y'all to think about it. How many times have you posted something that obsessively checked for likes? How many times have you taken comments personally? How many times have you let someone else's curated, highlighted reel make you feel less than? How many times when you didn't get as many likes as you thought you would get? How many comments as you thought you would get? How many views that you get? And it determined on how you felt that day. Remember what Dr. Will talked about on Monday about the algorithms, what your algorithms might say about you. I remember in the beginning not understanding or how to use social media for my own self-healing. Not understanding what that platform is for in the beginning. But as I begin to choose to go through my self-love journey, my healing journey, my social media began to change. Because then I understood what was a part of my purpose. Using my platform to encourage, to empower, to inspire. But also what I learned, and to go back to the second agreement, was not to take anything personal. I used to be afraid of sharing my imperfections because I knew that we were living in an unhealed world. And I remember in the beginning, truly in the beginning of me showing my transformation, on how many people came in and said so many mean and nasty things to me. And I remember the first thing I used to do, my block game was on tight. I was blocking like I was back playing basketball again. As soon as I saw something negative, as soon as I saw something that I felt that was reminding me of my unworthiness, or what I felt my unworthiness was, I would block it. And then I remember the first time reading that book, The 4 Agreements. I remember that started to change the way that I felt about myself, but also about others, because I said, I can't take it personal. I remember even saying some of the stuff that they saying, that is how I introduced myself to some of these people. I introduced myself as NmW&x, the porn star. That is how I introduced myself to some of these people, to probably majority of the world out there that's seen it, at least into my little world. And then I remember telling myself, why get mad about what somebody else is thinking and saying? It ain't got nothing to do with you. You know who you are. And some of the things that they said are true. You were on film doing A, B, C, and D. But does that define you as a person? No. But that's them. And you can't take it personal because they don't know you. They don't know your truth. You know your truth. They don't. And honestly, a lot of them are going through something. Remember when you used to go through stuff? They going through something too. Not giving them any excuses. But what this do is say, no, that's not my shit. Excuse my language. So I can't take it personal. And I won't take it personal. So again, when that young lady said, Naomi, have you read the 4 Agreements? I had to step back and I had to check myself and say, you used to wear it on your sleeve. The 4 Agreements, you used to wear it on your chest, in your heart. That was a part of your conversation. That was a part of your thought. In this month, when we're talking about nurturing relationships, and the conversations that you had and the disagreements that you had? Did you use those 4 agreements when doing it? When you've been on social media, have you been using those 4 agreements? And then I asked myself, how are you going to tell your listeners, your season of self lovers, how are you going to tell them? Are you going to share this with them? The old, the new ones? Because maybe they need reminding, or maybe they need to be introduced to it. Then I thought about it like, wow, I need to do a book club on this one. I need to do a challenge on this one. And so I'm working that out because I am going to do a challenge on this one. But when I thought about it, I'm like, ooh, girl. And I laughed at I didn't. So let me say this. I didn't get mad at myself. What I did was I laughed at it. I laughed at it in joy because that was a moment of awareness for me. That was a moment of awareness for me. That was a win for me. That I can recognize that in that moment, that young lady had to remind me and give me a message about a book that was so detrimental of changing my life, of changing my perspective of who I am and how I communicate with others. That book alone taught me how powerful and magical that we all are. Yes. And I just forgot, I'm learning so many new things. I'm learning so many new things and so excited about the new things. But in that process, I am so happy that I am so aware to listen, to take heed when somebody says, oh, that's what, and then I'm able to align it to what it needs to be aligned with. Yeah. And I hope I ain't lost nobody in talking this. If I have, put it in the comments and let me know. But for some reason, I don't think that I have, especially those who've been following me from day one on this journey. Because I talked about the 4 agreements in a whole, and asked Naomi even before the season of self-love was here, because of how it applies to our life. But I wanted to use it for our digital, for when we talk about social media, because honestly, this is going to be our life for the next forever now. Forever, whether it's using AI, whether it's using social media, on our phones, whatever it is. And we got to remember what the 4 agreements is. The 4 agreements is part of our foundation. The 4 agreements is part of our foundation. So when we talk about not taking it personal in a digital space, I'm going to tell you what that means. It means understanding that people's posts are about their journeys and not yours. So you don't need to compare. To be influenced by in a positive way is an amazing thing. But not to compare yourself and put yourself down. Also, not taking things personal in a digital space means recognizing that engagement doesn't equal your validation. Just the other day, I received a DM from one of my beautiful people, Miss Jada Fire. She sent me a message and she said, I just want you to know that that I wasn't not liking your post. I just hadn't seen it. The algorithm had you on my page for a few weeks. And I just want you to know. And, I never thought about that. I never thought about her liking any of my posts or anything like that. But she realized, like, wait, hold on. I ain't seen Naomi's stuff coming on my algorithm. So I got to let my sister know that it ain't nothing personal. But I said, girl, no worries. Life be life. And the algorithms, whatever was on your algorithm through that moment in that time, through those weeks, it was supposed to be. I wasn't supposed to show up. I wasn't supposed to show up then. When I'm supposed to show up on your algorithm, that is when I show up. So it's like I'm not taking anything personal. Because I understand. I might not get a post that you might put up and I might not like it just because I didn't see it. And so I don't take it personal. So again, recognizing engagement doesn't equal validation. But my sister girl thought, okay, let me make sure that Naomi know that I like her stuff when I see it. And that's good. But it ain't never anything. I told we gonna always be good, whether you like my shit or not. We beyond social media. And I understand with that. And that was before, honestly, that was before I even talked to the young lady. So giving me cues on different things, not knowing that I was going to be here on this Thursday talking about this with you all. Yeah, I did. If it happened in my life, I was going to talk about it. Let me stop. But also not taking it personal when knowing that unfollows aren't personal attacks on your character. If someone unfollows me, I don't even know if anybody be unfollowing me. I really don't. But if you are one of those people that looks and see how many people unfollowed you or followed you, let me tell you something. You are not supposed to be on there. They're not for you, and vice versa. And it's not personal. It's not. And then also remember the same stuff that you are dealing with. Trust and believe folks are dealing with their own things as well. People are dealing with their own things as well. So when I stopped taking social media personally, I stopped needing it to validate me. I started using it as a tool for connections instead of a scoreboard for my worth. I started using it for me, for influences for me in my own self-love journey. Or looking for voices that I knew that can be amplified to share on podcasts like the Season of Self-Love or Ask Naomi. That's where I was using. That's what, when I learned that, I'm telling you, when I started applying all of those things, yeah. So let's talk about agreement 3. Don't make assumptions. Don't make assumptions for the third agreement. This is where we get into trouble with social media relationships. Yeah. When we see someone's posting and we assume we know their whole story. We assume that because someone looks happy in their photos that they have a perfect life. Or we assume that because someone doesn't like our post that they don't like us. In the beginning, I was guilty of this because I used to assume that if people didn't engage with my content, they didn't care about my message, or I wasn't worthy to have that message. But then I realized maybe they're going through something, or maybe I didn't even come on the algorithm. Or maybe they had their own digital detox. Or maybe they simply busy with their life. So let me tell you what not making assumptions in a digital space means. It means asking questions instead of filling in the blanks. It means remembering that posts are just glimpses and not the full picture of someone's life. It means giving people the benefit of the doubt. It means communicating directly instead of reading between the lines. And when you communicate with them, you lead in love. When I stopped making assumptions about what people thought of my content, I started creating from a place of service instead of seeking approval. I remember talking to Dog Pound Mike, and I remember him saying to me that Just because people don't comment on your live shows, but there's people listening. There's people watching it and they hear you. And when we grow, we're going to grow. But stop worrying about the numbers. Stop worrying about the comments. He said, because most of the time, if they're not commenting, that means they're listening. And that's what you want them to do. You want them to listen. So don't assume anything. And this goes to agreement 4. Always do your best. Always do your best is the 4th agreement. And this is where we find balance in our digital lives. And I'm going to tell you how. The thing is that your best isn't the same every day. Some days your best might mean posting that vulnerable video. And on other days, your best may mean stepping away from social media entirely. You know, when Nicole talked about yesterday about the power of rest, you know, sometimes doing your best means resting. I had to learn this the hard way. My body shuts all the way down. Like I'm giving you signs and you steady keep moving, so I'm going to shut you down. And remember, Dr. Will was talking about months ago about productivity. You don't have to show your worth in productivity. I had to learn that. But I also had to learn you have to rest. And when God in the universe is showing you to rest, because you're doing good, but you need to rest your body and your energy. And as I look at it, he has something that's so much bigger for me, for us, that I need to rest. But also in that resting, it means saying no to pressure to post constantly for me. Remember on Tuesday when I say, when I have something very important to say, then I post it. Consistently for me is not being posted every day, because I want to know and make sure that the energy that I'm putting out, the message that I'm putting out, the words and encouragement that I'm putting out is good, whether I am having a bad day or a good day, and that is my truth. As I said, I had the posting when I felt I was called to, not when I felt obligated to. That's what I had to learn doing my best on social media meant. Posting when I felt called to and not when I felt obligated to. See, when you have your own business and you're an entrepreneur, you will get mixed into that world of being productive at all times, being consistent at all times, just putting out stuff for you to make sure that you're there. What I've been learning for my journey is that you'll be seen by those that you are meant to be seen by. What is for you will be for you. That you share your authentic self, even if it's not perfect. But also with meaning doing my best on social media means is taking breaks when I needed them without feeling guilty. And also what that means with doing my best on social media, it means focusing on quality connections over quantity followers. Y'all, I've been stuck on 277 followers for 4-5 years, probably longer than that. And I'm good with that. On my main page, 10,000 on Ask Naomi. And I think probably a good 400 and something here on the season and stuff. I don't even think we hit the 500 mark. But the thing is, I want quality connections and not quantity, Quality and not quantity. Because first of all, I want to make sure that I'm able to, I know I'm not on social media all the time like that. And so as I'm building my community, I'm building these authentic things behind. So then when it's time for me to give them out, that they are given to people who are truly going to appreciate it. So when I stop trying to do my best according to someone else's standards, that is where I start to do my best according to my own values. And then that's where my social media become a tool for connections, aesthetic comparisons. So when creating this framework, I remember sitting in this is on Tuesday, after I finished my recording my episode for Tuesday. I was like, can I create a little, practical framework that can apply the 4 agreements to our digital life? And so we're going to do this. This is the 4 agreements to the digital life. All right. So before you post, this is one. Before you post, I want you to ask yourself, are my words, whether it's caption, image, message, are my words impeccable? Am I speaking truth in love? Am I posting this for authentic reasons, or am I seeking validation? 3, what assumptions am I making about how this will be received? And 4, is this my best effort today without perfectionism? That's before you post. Now we're going to talk about when you're scrolling. When you were scrolling, this is how you're going to apply the 4 agreements, y'all. Y'all ready? I'm telling y'all, I'm breaking this down for y'all. When you're scrolling, I want you to remember, 1, the words in my head about myself need to be impeccable. Do not compare. Number 2, what am I seeing? What am I seeing that isn't about me personally? What I'm seeing isn't about me personally. I'm going to say that again. What I am seeing isn't about me personally. 3, I don't know the full story behind these posts, so don't assume. And number 4, I do my best to consume mindfully. I do my best. No more, no less. Now, when you are engaging, I would love for you to consider this. Are my comments impeccable and kind? The next one, am I taking this conversation personally when I shouldn't? 3, what assumptions am I making about this person's intent? And number 4, is this my best way to connect right now? Is it my best way to connect right now? See, when y'all start applying these 4 agreements to your digital life, I bet you see everything shift. You will stop checking your phone compulsively. You will stop comparing yourself to others. You will start using social media as a tool for connection and service instead of a source of anxiety. You will start showing up authentically, speaking impeccably, and not taking things personally, avoiding assumptions, and always doing your best, which sometimes means stepping away entirely. You know how I know? Because that's what I've been doing. And this right here, this is the threshold that we are standing at today. The choice between reactive scrolling and intentional engagement. between seeking validation and offering value, between digital overwhelm and digital wisdom. Did y'all hear me? I'm going to say this one more time. When you are standing at this threshold, you have the choice between reactive scrolling and intentional engagement, between seeking validation or giving value, offering value, or between digital overwhelm and digital wisdom. All right, my beautiful people, as we close today's episode, I want to challenge you to choose one of the 4 agreements to focus on this week in your digital life. Maybe it's being more impeccable with your words to yourself when you're scrolling. Maybe it's not taking that person post personally. Maybe it's just asking questions instead of making assumptions. Or maybe it's just doing your best, which it might means taking a break. But whatever agreement calls you to, I want you to commit to it. And if you haven't read the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, please do so. Do yourself this favor. It would transform not just your digital life, but your entire relationship with yourself and others. And yes, we're using these 4 agreements to break it all down, because when I tell you, when you look at it from a different perspective, when you're looking at life from a place of healing, when you're looking at your life because you want to fall in love with your life, you see life so differently. You really do. You really, really do. All right, my beautiful people. So tomorrow on Freedom Friday, we're going to talk about the liberation that comes from living by these agreements and how they create space for authentic relationships to flourish. So until then, I want you all to be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personal. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. That's your threshold to cross today. And I love you all. I see you all. And you are all worthy of authentic connections online and off. So I'll talk to you, beautiful people, tomorrow. And I want y'all to have an amazing, amazing day. Have a good one. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovering and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today, and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.